Hello, I am the H-Town Vet, and I would like to welcome you to our channel, a place where we will discuss the variety of benefits available to veterans and their dependents. Today, we will be talking about VA compensation and work. We will be discussing four major concepts, the first of which is work limitations. As it relates to you being a disabled veteran, work limitations is a measure of your inability to complete work tasks. Now, if you are a disabled veteran and you are able to complete all your work tasks, you will most likely receive a 0 rating from the VA because you have the condition that's service connected, but it's not affecting your employment. To be clear, the more productive you are at work, the less VA disability compensation you will receive. I know you're asking, when did productivity become a bad word? Well, it's always been a bad word when it comes to the VA regional office. Look at it this way. When you go to get a state inspection, they want to make sure that everything is right. But the VA operates more like a mechanic. They're looking for what's wrong with you. As it relates to work, when the VA is looking at your disability in the work setting, they want to know, how is your disability preventing you from completing work tasks? And the less productive you are at completing work-related tasks, the more VA compensation you should receive. Some of you may have heard the saying, more money, more problems. With the VA, it's more problems, more money. The VA will focus on three things when looking at your claim. Have you been diagnosed with an illness? Is there a connection between that illness and your service? And last, how does your disability affect your ability to work? I cover these topics in detail in my videos, What is a Nexus and How to File a VA Claim, Phase 1, Step by Step. Now that we've talked about work limitations, I need to explain service connection. If you're working and you have an injury that interferes with your ability to complete work tasks, first thing you need to do is make sure that your condition or injury is formally recognized. That is called a diagnosis. Once you have an official diagnosis, you need to connect your injury to your military service. That is called a nexus. Without a nexus, your condition or injury will not be recognized by the VA as service connected. Once the VA deems your disability as service connected, their very next step is to see how does the injury affect your ability to work, or its severity. The more severe the VA considers your condition, the more compensation you will receive. A nexus is the bridge between your military service and your injury or condition. It doesn't matter if your condition happened stateside or while you were deployed. For example, you may have developed PTSD while you were in combat, or you may have been in a car wreck off duty and off base that resulted in a loss of limb or amputation. Both of these situations are considered service connected because they happen while you were on active duty and are of no fault of your own. There are only certain disabilities that the VA consider to be service connected: depression, PTSD, high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, to name a few. Other observable cues that show that you may have problems related to your military service at work include becoming extremely frustrated at work and even violent, demonstrating a lack of focus or motivation, and getting into physical altercations with other employees and supervisors. All of us as military veterans must understand we have been trained to neutralize threats, and sometimes when we're confronted by people, we'll perceive that as a threat. This is not meant to make excuses for bad behavior, but to help us understand our triggers and to get the proper help that we need. So far, we've talked about work limits and service-connected disabilities. Improvement, a word that you need to become very familiar with if you're trying to protect your VA disability compensation. This is the main word that the VA will use when they're trying to reduce your compensation level. For example, if you were getting paid at the 100% rate because of individual unemployability, and the VA finds out that you're working, they can actually take away your individual unemployability because by working, you have shown that your condition has improved. Once you've had your service-connected disability for at least 5 years, the VA must show continuous improvement. This means that they can't use just one exam to reduce your rating. They must have at least 2 or more. Many people with a disability rating of less than 100% still work, and it's very unlikely that they're going to bring you in for a re-examination unless your award letter says future exams scheduled. The things that the VA will look at to see whether your condition has improved or not include your medical records and your personnel file at your job. Most of the time, the VA will send employment questionnaires to your employer. Many times, the employers refuse to fill them out for whatever reason. But if your condition has worsened, you can submit evidence from your job, including bad evaluations, letters from coworkers, and a journal documenting your problems at work. And our last topic for today, the concepts of permanent and temporary. We are focusing on how the VA used these terms to define your VA disability compensation. For VA purposes, temporary does mean temporary, but permanent doesn't mean permanent. We're going to use 2 types of 100% disability ratings to describe the concepts of temporary and permanent, because the VA tends to focus on reductions when you're paid at the 100% rate. If you're paid at a 100% rate because of individual unemployability, the VA believes that your condition is temporary and that it may improve over time. And in your award letter, they're supposed to inform you that you will be rescheduled for a re-examination in 3 to 5 years. At this re-examination, your disability rating may be decreased, increased, or stay the same. What I did when I had individual unemployability, a year before I was scheduled to have the re-examination, I filed a claim to make my 100% permanent and total. I did this because I was going in for a re-examination in a year anyway, so why not do it on my own terms and request what I wanted? And that's just what I did. I asked for 100% permanent and total with no future exams. How can you get what you want unless you ask for it? But you must have the evidence to back up your claim. Let's say you finally receive 100% permanent and total. This is a permanent rating. Before I define the word permanent, let me explain what total means. Total means you're completely disabled, and in most cases paid at the 100% rate. You can be totally disabled based on individual unemployability, or you could be totally disabled based on a 100% scheduler rating, P&T. Remember what I stated earlier. As it relates to the VA, permanent does not mean permanent, but it is a high form of protection when it comes to your 100% P&T. When you have a permanent rating, your condition is static or unchanging. This means that your condition is unlikely to improve, and no future re-examinations are scheduled. Only 2 things will put a permanent rating at risk: filing unnecessary claims and a random reevaluation from the VA. If this video has been helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notifications for my next video.